She-Ra.
When I first moved to LA, I really was like, I'll be a dramatic actress. And one of my first auditions was for this show, and I went in, and it was like a sorority girl that was really, really scared. I promised going somewhere. And I did it, and they were laughing so hard. I was like, this is in the bag. I've nailed it. And my agent calls me and says, well, they thought it was hilarious, but it's not a comedy. And so that's kind of like, and then like anything else in my career, I've sort of like fallen into those characters because I can't help myself, I guess. And with She-Ra, I think she does have a lot of that in her.
You get to do both.
And I get to do both, which is really fun.
Because you're so good at both of them. But it is like, I think that the comedy is like, I feel like so much of like directing you is just like, let Amy do what she's gonna do.
Very
like,
nice.
And it's like, those are always the takes. It's always the weird take that
it's always
love.
a weird
like,
take.
We're like, yes, that, I've never heard that before.
But it's actually really interesting working with like a female executive producer, and unfortunately it's just like not the norm to do that. And they kind of like, on the whole, my experience with Noelle and everybody else has been like, they have entrusted you with a job and they trust you to do the job. And that's really super fun. You're creating the environment that I'm sure you want to have too, you know.
Yeah.
How does it feel to play the ultimate female badass? In that time we're discussing Me Too and Time's Up and female empowerment.
Honestly, it's like such a relief to be able to play Adora / She-Ra, because I think as people, men and women in this time, we need that like outlet. Like and it's not Twitter all the time. It can't be just that, you know. In your case, it's your writing or, you know, where you're reporting. I think in my case, having the outlet and the ability to play someone who isn't constrained by, like you were talking before, like a stereotypical like misogyny or like, you know, gender roles and things like that. We're living in this alternate universe with different problems. It's really cool. And Noelle has captured something. I think we're going to look back on this show in a few years and see like, oh, she understood something about what was happening currently in this alternate world, but also like in our society. And I think that has just been like the ultimate surprise of this show, being able to show up to work and process all the things that are happening through this character.
Yeah, I feel like the records are such a safe space to just like it is one of the most healing things. Like when it's been like a terrible week in the news, to like go in and just like be in there with you and Mary and Shane and just like let's pretend for a little bit that it's the other world.
And I don't think this is a spoiler, but there's one in particular that I remember was a really bad news day, and we were filming this scene in the woods, and there was this line where Adora looks up and she lives in a world like that has no stars in it. And somebody like said that line, and I just like broke down in tears. I was like, "You're right. There are no stars in this world." And I just, you know, I'm sorry, it's a super long-winded answer, but I obviously have a lot to say.
The change from princess to princesses is obvious, right? And the whole girl team power. Why was that an important change for you to make?
Yeah, I mean, I think that the original show had it as well. This is just more deliberate focusing on the teamwork aspect. That it is, you know. It obviously revolves around Adora's journey and Bo and Glimmer and Catra as well, but the princesses, it is about this coming together. It's about this teamwork. And what's great about them is like when you have so many opportunities to showcase female characters, no one has to be the girl. So you get some like pretty wacky personalities in there. You get like Mermissa, who's super dry, and you get like Perfuma, who's just like really anxious and like a little bit like spacey, but like just really wants to do a good job and like has some rage issues maybe. And Entrapta, who's just so distracted by robots that she's just always like, she sees a robot and she just goes and she follows the robot and gets in trouble that way. Like you get this whole cast of characters together who are so different from each other, and it creates this really rich tapestry and this world that feels really alive.
Talk to us about what power means and looks like, both for Adora as an individual, but also as sort of like a theme for the show. You know, Princesses of Power is the tagline for the show, but like, what does power look like?
We haven't really talked about this. I hope I'm saying the right thing, but I think through seeing Adora's journey, power is something that you sort of work toward, I think, for her. And it's so much less about the prestige of power and the control of power. It's more about the sacrifice of power and like the cost of power. And that's, you know, something that, again, like brings me back so prescient, you know, like what is our responsibility when we have that power. So you have to work for it. It's not easy.
And I think in so many ways the show is about female leadership, and it's about new female leadership, especially women stepping into roles that they did not previously occupy and trying to figure out how to lead as best they can. I think between Adora, Glimmer, and Catra, they show 3 different ways of approaching that, and I think that I see myself in all of them in that way. That there is. I was 24 when I got this job, and you go from being like, I have a great idea, to being like, oh, I have to lead a team. I have to bring out the best in my team. It is not enough for me to have a good idea. I need to be a good leader. How do I do that? And so it wasn't something that I was consciously doing, but like I feel like in a lot of ways that has gotten into the show, because also so many of the people who work on the show are women, and in the ones who are in leadership positions, a lot of them are doing the job for the first time. So it's something that that was really personal to us, and that was really something that we explore through the show.
And you talked about how season 1 follows them bringing together this Princess Alliance. Do you have a larger picture of Adora's journey, like for season 2 or additional seasons? I don't want to get ahead, but
yeah, absolutely. I mean, she has an arc in every season, and it is a lot of her just struggling with what power means to her, what her responsibility is to the people around her, which she takes really, really seriously. She's kind of an anxious character because she always feels like she's like messing up. She's like, I failed
because she was so
I might as well just
brainwashed.
die. Like,
I know. It's a very soldier-like mentality. It's like, I've lost my honor. I have to leave, I guess. And everybody's like, where are you going? You don't have to give up. But
yeah. So it's her wrestling, and I think Catra, the relationship with Catra is a steadfast thing through the show. And in so many ways, Adora feels so much guilt towards what happened with Catra. And like you were talking about on the panel, Adora has to choose to leave Catra behind again and again. And Catra does not let go of that. She guilts her. And so there's comes a time when Adora realizes that no, it is time to let go of that guilt. Catra, she can't let Catra control her that way anymore. She needs to move past this relationship, and that leads to a whole new tapestry. But it's she grows so much over the course of the show. It's really exciting to see.